Sup, sup. What's up, mother lovers? I'm live. All right, let's get my stream setup going, man. Stream setup. Okay, so boom, boom. All right, so let's post that. Live now links are up. Let me post my Instagram stories live now. Live now. Okay. Boom. All right. Is my cat gonna jump on the bed? Let's see. I think my cat's gonna jump on the bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's poppin'? Man, I woke up at 3:45 a.m. for no reason at all, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I tossed and turned until like 5 a.m. and then I went to the gym, which I never go in the mornings. So I usually get up at 7. So I did some boxing, cardio, did some abs exercises, and then I came home and made breakfast for the girlfriend and I. It was a fill. I made it was egg whites, bacon, and I think I used 2 regular eggs and split those between us. So and a couple of Killer Dave's bread with a lot of seeds in them. So I feel pretty good. Although I went to work after that, I didn't shower and I didn't shave. Dude, I've got some serious shit going on here. Look at this, man. I look ragged. Look up at my bed. I'm washing my sheets, as you can see. It's a mess, man. Got headphones back there. I don't give a damn. This is how I live, man. You guys see me. This is how I do. Today's stream though, I want to talk about today's March 30th. We're about a quarter of the way through 2026 and I want to talk about all 9 games that I've beaten this year. Count them, read them, and weep. 9 games. So let's start from the top. I'm also gonna continue a book reading, The Warehouse: A Visual Primer on Mass Incarceration. If you guys are new here, I'm anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. I like letting you guys know what the evil empire, the United States, is up to, and this is a really good read about the prison industrial complex, mass incarceration system. So I'll be continuing that. I'll probably play Neo, Nioh, not Neo. My barista thinks it was something from the Matrix, but no. I found a groove in Neo, so I'm really enjoying that now. And I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna shower and take a nap because I had a double shot espresso because I'm gonna get this stream in now. Okay, I might get too tired later. But all right. So let's talk about the 9 games I beat in 2026 so far. We are about 3 months done in the year, and I want to talk about them right now. Game number 1 is Nuclear Nightmare. This is let me see here. Let me zoom in on this thing here. Nuclear Nightmare. What do I have here? Let me show you some clips of my playthrough. So, let's see. Let's make this nice and big. How do you make it bigger? Oh. Let me show you this. So Nuclear Nightmare is I think it was 2024, 2025 where it got like out of beta, and if you like the movie The Thing, guys, it's you and a friend and you get booted up. It's all randomly generated. You get booted up to one of like 10 spots on the map. Like you're at a power station, and then you have to get a snowmobile and travel to the next destination, gather supplies, go to the next one, the next one. But there's enemies at nighttime, and the daytimes really fly by. In like 10 minutes it's nighttime, and then like another 10 minutes it's back to daytime. So when you're traveling, your ass better get into like a building. You better barricade it up because these things are coming for you, man. And the enemies look like something from the thing. So let me just
You have a barricade?
No. Oh, dude, you just
this is
right there. You asked. You killed it.
I guess.
Oh.
so that was one of my favorite clips from um my recent stream. I think that was one of streams from January, maybe 2 months ago. It says so. It's a horror game, man. I swear, I thought didn't need a barricade for that door, and of course, the one time I needed a barricade, the monster broke in the door, and I got swiped. I got killed pretty good. Yo, what's up in the TikTok chat? What's happening, man? So, I highly recommend. I really like Nuclear Nightmare, guys. It's pretty janky. Um, like the controls aren't the greatest, and enemies kind of react differently to your shots. But I think it's under $10. So if you like I said, if you like the movie The Thing, and you like supporting indie devs, guys, you like horror gaming in general, first person shooter ish, survival horror kind of vibes. Survival. Did I say survival horror? I did. Um, but it's like you are low on resources, man. I think you only have like 5 inventory slots. So, hey, man, if you like old school, um, if you like old school, what you call it, Resident Evil, there you go. So, oh, there's somebody on X trying to. There's somebody in the chat on X, but I can't really like access it. So, but I'll keep streaming here. I can only load so many chats at one time. This is messed up. How can I not see it? But yeah, okay. So Nuclear Nightmare, that's game number uno of 2026. Let's talk about game number 2 that I beat this year. Let's talk about Tearscape, guys. Tearscape, check it out. Let me load up a clip or two. So Tearscape, think of it as, let me see here. So my face is on the left. That's just me live. This is the camera on the right's old news, but Tearscape is like old school Zelda, guys, but it's mixed with Dark Soul mechanics. So you've got a stamina meter, you've got your health bar, and like if you take a couple hits, you're done for. And you can only swing like 2 or 3 times before your stamina is depleted, and then you're really screwed.
Oh my god,
But see, like when you step on that, you get real slow. So you can block with your shield and throw shit away. See how much health you lose, man, just by one hit. And then you can't fall. There's like pits you can't fall into. There's hazards everywhere. So very old school 8-bit, 16-bit vibes. And you like retro gaming, guys. You like, whatchamacallit, you like Dark Souls games. Kind of dungeon crawling, unlocking new areas. There's good level design. Like you open this door, it leads to over there. And it also has a Metroidvania vibe too, guys. So let me kind of fast forward one of my older streams.
Now I am.
This is one of the water levels, is what I was showing you. Oh, that's when I died earlier. Damn, we were at this water level for a while. Yeah, you get checkpoints. You get whatever checkpoint you got. See, look at all those hazards, man. Yeah, so look at the map. This is the kind of what the map looks like. So it has that Metroidvania vibe, and I usually don't like those games, but you know, it's pretty easy to navigate, I would say. So, because I get pissed when I don't know where I'm going in a Metroidvania game. So, so that's Tearscape, Tearscape, and that is an indie game. I believe it's on Steam, and it's about what 9 hours max, 9 hours long. So highly recommend it, guys. That's one of my favorite games this year so far. Sorry, I'm burping my lunch. I had my cat's chasing her tail. She's hissing at herself and insane. Look. Hey. Are you okay? Cookie. My cat's insane, man. All right. So game number 3 that I've beaten this year is Absalom. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Absalom is a beat 'em up, and let me see if I have any clips that's available to you guys. So, if you guys like Streets of Rage 4, I highly recommend Absalom, guys. It's so good, man. So good. So let me load up. Let me show this. No, get out of here. I don't need that. Let me just show you a quick little. So like you've got power ups. You got crazy move sets. Like there, I have like a tornado move. That's so awesome. And it's one of those roguelite games, guys. So if you die, you start over, but like not all power-ups, but some that you've collected. And like the crystals, which is kind of like cash. I believe you save that, and then you can buy stuff, do another run, and over, So, but it's crazy good, man. It's really addicting, and you can complete one run in like under an hour, if everything goes right. So once you get good at it, man, you just want to fire it up and give it a go. Highly recommend. You can pay 50 coins to like get a guy to fight with you. There's tons of secrets. See, like, look, this guy's gonna freaking. I punched this library thing shelf, and then I found a secret. You know what I'm saying? So there's branching paths. So each run feels different. Oh, dang. So look what happened there. Oh, yeah, there's like ultimate moves. Look at that move I just did. It's pretty sick, right? Love it. So, I've talked about Absalom plenty of times. So, that was one of my favorite 2025 games of the year. So next game number 4 I beat this year, which is kind of cheating. So Final Fantasy X-2, I finally did it. I started this game 8 years ago, guys, and I quit. I got towards the end and I quit for some weird reason. I was right at the end. I don't know why I quit. I guess I had other games to play and I got distracted. And about a year or two, I booted it up. I had no idea what I was doing. I quit immediately. And then maybe 6 months ago, I booted it up, quit it again. But then I really sat down and focused. I got game facts up. I got YouTube walkthrough up. I focused and I beat the game. So although I put like so many hours into it years ago, I did beat it this year. So it counts as a game that I beat. And I'm not going to show you footage because, you guys know Final Fantasy X too. I just want to say the dress sphere, the switching out to all the different styles of combat is pretty sweet. And I can't stand the music, by the way. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't really fit it. But I like the battle system, man. And as I get older, especially with RPGs, if the gameplay slaps, then I'm into it. So definitely check out Final Fantasy X-2. That was game number 4 this year. Game number 5 this year. Let's see. Wicked Seed. Ow. Let me see if I can get a clip of Wicked Seed. Okay, Wicked Seed came out this year, y'all, and it kind of has those Parasite Eve vibes. The combat, you know. So, like, you go into an arena, you're walking around. Let me see if I can find a good clip for you guys.
Kind of missed.
So this is I got my VLC player up this time. So you enter an arena and then like you gotta stand back. You've got like a pistol, a shotgun, some machine gun, assault rifle, right? And some take longer to fire, longer to reload, etc. But so you kind of bait the enemy, right? And their range is pretty small. So you kind of bait them and run away, right?
Let him hit you.
You see? So it's similar to Parasite Eve to me, because in Parasite Eve, you know, you go into an arena and your guns can only fire this far. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let him hit you.
And then once the enemy does an attack, they kind of have an ATB bar that fills up, or, you know, a few seconds later they'll attack again. So you reposition yourself, you attack. So here's me. I'm gonna get in 4 shots.
Come on. He's this close.
And look, I baited him. I ran away.
Oh.
And then I get
Got it.
closer again. 2 more shots.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. I told
And that was a tough fight right there, guys. That was a tough one. So, you can see you got like a leveling up system. Scrap is like your cash. You use scrap to level up your guns, your armor. And dude, like, what's her name? Ella? Dude, she is like one of the sexiest, one of the sexiest characters in gaming, dude. She got a fat ass. Her ass is fat. She's built like a brick shit house, dude. She is a stud muffin. That's all I gotta say. So a very memorable character in those ways, those voluptuous ways. But yeah, man, Wicked Seed, highly recommend, guys, if you like survival horror RPG style. If you're a fan of Parasite Eve, you know, it's in a spooky mountainside. You're going through like a cabins, caves. You're exploring the mountainside, and lots of cool enemies. It's it feels really janky at first, guys, but I swear it's really you let it play its course, and it gets better the more you play it. Okay, so yeah. That was Wicked Seed at number 5. Number 6, guys, is game number 6 I beat this year was Resident Evil 1 Remake. And let me load up some clips because I love the way this game looks, man. This game is beautiful. Beautiful. So, I think it's the best looking Resident Evil out there. Shit. I'm breathing hard into the mic for some reason. Wow, my mic was really high when I streamed that clip. I got a with your basic handgun. Hey, what's up? Javelin on YouTube chat. What's up, man? We're talking about the 9 games I beat. We are a quarter of the way in 2026. I beat 9 games. This is game number 6. Resident Evil 1 Remake. But and with your pistol, you have like a 10 to 15% chance of a critical headshot, and I got one right there, as you can see. Yeah. And I had to go to that corner, so I got really lucky. So that was pretty sweet. I'm glad I got that. I really needed that. So, let me see. What other kind of clips do I got here? You know why I like this game, though? The jump scares. If this thing rises up and becomes a Crimson Head, bro. Shit. Come on. Come on, do it, do it. Yes, yes. That was a good moment, man. Oh, whoops. That was a really that was one of my other favorite clips. So what's brilliant about Resident Evil 1 remake is, like in the OG 1996 game, you shoot into a zombie, you kill it, it's down forever. In Resident Evil 1 remake, if you don't get a headshot and if you don't burn the body with limited oil, an hour passes by, those zombies become super zombies, Crimson Heads, and I tried to burn a body right there, and it tricked me because it kind of said okay, but he rose up before I could pour the oil on him, and he surprised me. So that game is scary as hell. I think it's the best looking Resident Evil game out there, and there's a lot of them. Actually, Resident Evil Requiem might take that cake. So, but Resident Evil 1 Remake, man, 10 out of 10 game. Might be the best Resident Evil game in the series. You're always low on resources, ammo, and health. And the mansion's brilliant level design. I love that game so much. That was game number 6. Game number 7, guys, is Resident Evil Requiem. I don't have any clips to show you and I don't need to. You guys have seen, it's so popular right now. It's like one of the number 1 games out there. So, I really like the, real survival horror, scary bits, and then with Grace, and then I like how they mix it up, man, because I really like Resident Evil 4 Remake. I love Resident Evil 5. I like action survival horror, action horror, so I definitely like both, but as I say a lot, as I get older, I want pop, pop, pop. I want action. I want fast-paced. So having like a hatchet, having all those different weapons that you can upgrade and throw grenades, parry, you can block and parry, dude. I really liked Leon's campaign there. So I'm not sure what I would rate Requiem. Probably an 8.5-ish out of 10. It's definitely going to be in the Game of the Year contention for 2026. But I'm not much of a AAA gamer anymore. So, I mean, I play so many indie games now. But if you're on the fence, man, no question, you need to play Resident Evil Requiem. So that was game number 7. All right, let's talk about 2 other games. I got 2 more games to talk about, guys. RV There Yet. RV There Yet is an indie game. I think it came out late last year. And this is a co-op indie game. Let me try and find a good clip here. Oh yeah, this is a good one here. Check this out.
Pull in. Yo, get that shit.
We effed up.
Pull it. Damn.
Oh, do we get it?
Pull.
No.
I'm holding it. No way.
Yes. Let's go, baby.
Okay, now what?
So that's kind of the gist, right? You've got repair kits, so you're going to crash your RV. You pick up spare bits, spare parts, you pick up oil, you repair your RV as you journey through the land. Man, it's not easy. This game really surprised me. It's under $10, and for what you get, it's very challenging, but also so much fun because you're playing it with a friend. You can play with up to, I think, 4 to 6 people. It's on Steam, and for the price, man, and like how challenging it was. I mean, it's not too much skill per se, but it requires some thinking. I'll put it that way. I never got a flat tire, but apparently you can. That can happen. There's snakes out there. There's wild bears that can attack you. So I definitely recommend RV There Yet, guys. The winch, as you can see in that last clip, is your best and worst enemy because the game is janky. I will say that. You can fall down cracks and crevices and get stuck, but it's okay, man. The checkpoints aren't too bad if you really need to reboot or something. But definitely try RV There Yet. Highly recommend. So, the 9th game I beat this year was Reanimal. Reanimal or is from the creators of Little Nightmares, and I tried Little Nightmares 1 and I didn't like it. The aesthetics were cool, but I hated dying and taking forever to restart. It's so slow. The checkpoints weren't fair, and I'm just like, whatever, dude. Um, and Reanimal, the graphics were very impressive. Let me see here. Let me get a clip of Reanimal so you can kind of see what's up. So it's you and your buddy. You're platforming. There's hazards. Ooh,
Oh,
my friend barely made it there.
dang, she caught that edge. Laura Croft.
I can't remember.
I don't know why my partner jumped right here.
Oh my.
Oops.
The
You didn't see
li-
that.
You just didn't want to use.
But Reanimal, like, the gameplay's boring, man. It's kind of a flop to me. I wasn't crazy about it. I had fun playing with a friend, but I've had fun as with the other games I mentioned co-op. And dude, it's like you go into a room or a hallway, this big enemy chases you, and you just go forward, maybe jump over a thing or two, and then you get to a new room. There's an obvious key, you open the door, and then it's rinse repeat. And then, like, you go into an area, you hide behind a shopping cart, the enemy looks that way, you run that way, and then boom, you got it. So, and it's really relying on the graphics, the grotesqueness of the game. Is that a word? There's some nasty looking enemies for sure. And the death scenes aren't too graphic, but they are not PG. They're not. Disney didn't make this game. I'll say that. So Reanimal, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. I commend the developers for making a scary looking horror game, but man, the gameplay is just not there. Maybe it's because I'm impatient and I want go 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 pop pop pop. I want to attack, blow things up, possibly. But I mean, I like horror games, and they made a good horror game, but the gameplay is severely lacking to me. So Reanimal, guys, it's $40. However, that one person that buys it, you can invite a friend on Friends Pass. So if I would get it on sale, if you have friends that will split it with you, do it. But I don't know if I'd spend $40, man. And it's only like 5 hours long. I don't know. Don't highly recommend that one. So there you go, guys. That's 9 games I talked about, and I beat 9 games so far in 2026. And I would say Tearscape and Resident Evil Requiem are my 2026 games that are up there so far. Wicked Seed's pretty good too, but yeah. Yeah, dude, I want to play a game. I'm always down to co-op. Always down to co-op gaming. Co-op gaming's my favorite, dude, so. All right, so let me see here. I'm going to start a book reading for today. The gaming talk is over. There's Cookie. Jav, I know you like cats. Tuxedo cats. Tuxedo cats rule. All right, so let me use the bathroom, but we're going to read a book about mass incarceration. But and then after this, I'm going to play some Neo on PS4. So if you're not interested in the book reading, that's cool. I understand. My name is Game.Film, but yes, I like talking about capitalism, imperialism. I like reading books to educate folks and myself. Have fun, stay informed. Those are the vibes here, guys. Give me 1 second, and we'll get to the book. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Amen. 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 Sorry, that's a Sam Cooke song. He was live one day. All right, so let's do this. Move this out of the way. All right, guys. So this is part 3 of book reading of The Warehouse, a visual primer on mass incarceration, written by James Kilgore and Vic Liu. I think Vic Liu does most of the artwork in here. Past streams, we kind of broke it down by decades, kind of by each president, starting with Nixon, and how the policies have ratcheted up not just private prisons, but just the number of people in prison in general. The poor, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the housing situation, how terrible it is. The percentages that people of color, blacks are the highest rate of incarceration. LGBTQ, trans, those are all higher than what they should be. There shouldn't be any. But yeah, I mean, we did Bush Sr., Ronald Reagan, Obama, etc. And we've made it to page 43. And it's got some cool artwork in here too. So where are we? Yeah, like, you know, you got like for every one person born, there were 3 admissions to jail in the U.S. in 2019. It's got really crazy statistics like this. So in 2019, the U.S. had 10.3 million admissions into jail. Damn. That's crazy. So the next chapter on page 43 is titled Jail and Sentencing. So let's start reading the next part. This is part 3. Jails are the local face of mass incarceration. Nearly every one of the more than 3,000 counties in the U.S. has a jail. In many small counties, jails are the single biggest capital expenditure. These may range in size from the enormous Cook County Jail, which often houses more than 5,000 people, to lockups like the Dukes County, Massachusetts Jail, which normally holds about 30 people. While just under 2 million people may be behind bars at a given moment, in the course of a year, some 11 million arrests will lead to incarceration. Like prison populations, the number of people held in jail during pretrial at a given moment has escalated during mass incarceration from 182,745 in 2002 to 758,400 in 2019. During the pandemic, jail populations tended to fall, but many, especially in big cities, expanded again in 2021. Race plays a big part in how cases are handled at every step of the process. As in all aspects of mass incarceration, the jail population reflects racial bias. In 2020, black people were jailed at a rate of 465 per 100,000 residents, as compared to 133 for whites. A national study in 2018 concluded that black people are 5 times more likely to be arrested than their white counterparts. But it doesn't stop there. In large urban areas, black people are 25% more likely than white people to be held in jail during the pretrial period, the time between arrest and a court decision in the case. In addition, the bail amounts for black people tend to be higher than those for whites. For some people, short-term stays in jail may be a constant part of their life. These arrests may include traffic offenses, domestic violence, low-level drug use, and violation of public decency laws, such as urinating in a park or having an argument in a bar. For others, a trip to jail may just be the first stop in years or a lifetime of incarceration. And then the next, this is a photo of a person carrying a cot down a hallway there. From arrest to sentencing. So This has a nice little graphic. I'll let you see it a little closer there. Has some statistics there. And I'll go just so you can see what I'll be reading here. Can y'all see that? So you can pause it if you want. So let's read this. This map. So you get arrested. You have an initial appearance. Accused is informed of charges and assigned defense counsel. Then there's a preliminary hearing. A judge determines if there is probable cause to believe that the accused committed the crime. Then there's a bail hearing. Judge decides if the accused can post bail and the amount of bail. Black people, on average, are given a 2 times higher bail. All right, so then we've got a tree here. 32% released on their own recognizance, which means the judge allows individual to stay at home pre-trial without bail, or 30% are paid bail. Individual provides bail amount and is allowed to stay at home pre-trial. I'm actually going to skip these 2 pages because it gets confusing without you guys not seeing like the map that I'm reading. So just kind of pause it and yeah, you can go back and read that. So, but the ability to afford bail greatly affects the chances someone is convicted. So, all right, page number 48. Jails are packed with poor people. Many people land in jail because of criminalization of their daily survival activities. This is referred to as the criminalization of poverty. Those who are unhoused are frequent targets of criminalization. In many jurisdictions, the law prohibits sleeping in public spaces. Several local authorities ban people from living in their car. Phoenix bans any camping in the city, even car camping. In Hawaii, a person cannot sleep or live in their car on any public roadway between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Cities like Las Vegas, Orlando, Philly have made it a criminal offense to feed people in public spaces. Even people who avoid a jail sentence by being placed on an electronic monitor or going to drug court may end up back behind bars because they are unable to afford the user fees for these activities. In some jurisdictions, electronic monitors can cost a person up to $25 per day, plus a hookup fee of $200. In many jurisdictions, criminalization of poverty enables aggressive, racially biased policing. Failure to pay fines or fees might land a person behind bars. Outdated car license, registration, or overdue traffic fines are often the result of the inability of the person to afford the charges. Data on traffic stops shows that black and Latina drivers are more commonly stopped by police than white drivers. In New York, a 2019 study found black people were 6 times more likely to be the subject of stop and frisk by police and 6 times more likely to be arrested when they were stopped. A survey of 980 Alabama residents who owed or were paying court debt showed 38% committed a crime to pay court debt. This is a quote from Joey Fiala, an unhoused in Fort Collins, Colorado. Quote, "Yeah, I got ticketed twice for sleeping under the Linden Street Bridge. I was sick, sleeping on a mattress under the bridge, and they woke me up and gave me a ticket. I balled it up and threw it in their face. Fuck you, I'm not going to pay that. I can't pay that. So I ended up in jail for failure to appear." Close quote. This is a Powderhorn Park resident named Squad is arrested in front of his tent as a bulldozer stands by. This is a artist. Police evict and arrest homeless encampment in Minneapolis. So there's got some artwork in this book. Pretty nice. So bulldozer on standby, guys. Tearing down someone's home. Page 50. Bail is not determined by ability to pay. Bail imprisons the poor. The original purpose of bail was to incentivize a person accused of a crime to attend their court appearances. In many countries, bail is a set of conditions that does not involve money at all. Instead of making payment, a person may be compelled to meet with court officials, follow a curfew, present at a police station, or conform to travel restrictions rather than having to pay money. Under mass incarceration, cash bail has spread widely, and the actual amounts of cash bail can be astronomical. The realities of money bail mean that people are serving time in jail simply because they are poor and cannot afford the bail. In 2020, over 550,000 people were in jail who had not been convicted or sentenced. In 2020, the median bail for a felony was $10,000. Usually, a person must pay 10% of that bail sum in cash. According to Vox, quote, in Philadelphia from 2008 to 2013, nearly 40% of those with bail set to $500 or less stayed in jail for at least 3 days, end quote. There is evidence that the amount of bail set by the judge is based entirely on the judge's discretion. Usually the judge sets the bail within a few minutes. Judges set bail on average twice as high for black defendants as for white defendants for the same severity of crime. In many places, courts follow bail schedules, amounts that are based on charge without taking into account details of a person's case or their ability to pay, and often without defense counsel being present. In 2022, Illinois became the first state to eliminate money bail. Under the state's Pretrial Fairness Act, a judge can either order a person to be freed pretrial, or, if the judge deems the person a threat to themselves or to the community, or they are a threat to flee prosecution, they can be held in jail. The bail bond industry. In many cases, when a bail amount is set, the person incarcerated cannot afford to pay the entire amount. In such cases, they give 10% of the bail to a bail bond company who puts up the remaining 90%. When the case is resolved, the bail bond company keeps the 10% as their profit. Bail bonds are big money, with more than 15,000 bail bond agents making a total profit of over $2 billion a year. In recent years, many communities have set up community bail funds. A key goal of these funds is to end the incarceration of people because of poverty. These community bail funds raise money that they use to pay the bail for people to get them released. The bail fund then collects the money from their client once the case is over, and then uses the same funds to bail out another person. There are over 90 community bail funds in the U.S. Quote, they and their families are also targets for the $2 billion per year for-profit bond industry, which routinely exploits people, disproportionately people of color, in desperate situations, close quote. Bail is determined either by bail schedule or by a judge's discretion. Black and brown defendants are given bail amounts twice as high as white people, even though they are less likely to be able to afford it. What happens if you can't afford bail? Number one, you stay in jail until arraignment, which increases the chances of being convicted as well as increases chances of false confessions. Or number two, take a bail bond. Pay a non-refundable 10% of the bail to the bond agent and put up belongings as collateral. All right, so there's that one. Page 52. 97% of people take the deal. In the federal system, only about 3% of cases go to trial. Similar figures prevail in many parts of this country. The rest are resolved through plea agreements, what people in prison refer to as, quote, taking a deal, close quote. In a plea agreement, a person consents to plead guilty to a charge and accept a sentence that is less than the maximum. In most jurisdictions, if a person refuses a plea bargain and then loses a trial, they receive a much harsher sentence than what was offered in the plea bargain. Grr, that's frustrating. To avoid a long sentence, many people accept a plea agreement even when they are not guilty or there is little evidence against them. Among Baltimore City drug cases in 2018, the average sentence for a person who pleaded not guilty but then lost their case in a trial was 7 times longer than for those who accepted a plea agreement. People also accept plea bargains if they don't have enough money to hire a lawyer. Those who can't afford a paid lawyer receive a public defender. The quality of public defenders varies widely. Some are dedicated to their duties and do their best to represent their clients. Others are less interested or maybe have a very heavy workload that prevents them from spending an adequate amount of time on an individual's case. Bojan Kovacic, a Chicago defense attorney, stated that many of his clients plead guilty despite his advice because they are desperate to be free. Quote, I knew for a fact they were innocent, but they were scared. They're getting beat up, and all they can think about is getting out of here, close quote, said Kovacic. So at the bottom here, it says, you are arrested with 100 grams of crack cocaine. What do you do? Option 1, you go to trial. You stay 6 months in jail and go to court. If found guilty, you would be given at least a 15-year sentence, as that is the mandatory minimum. 3, you can appeal your case if found guilty. Option number 2, you take a plea bargain. You stay 6 weeks in jail instead of 6 months. You agree to a 5-year sentence. You cannot appeal your case. Damn. Page 54. Jail has a lasting impact. Although the Constitution guarantees a speedy trial, the reality is quite different. Some cases take months, even years, to be resolved. In Alabama, between 2013 and 2017, felony cases on average took 168 days to be resolved. Misdemeanors took an average of 81 days. For homicide cases, the statewide average was 364 days until resolution. But in Tuscaloosa County, the average wait was 589 days. During this entire time, the person remains in jail without conviction. Many people plead out because of the strong negative impacts of jail. Conditions in county jails are often far worse than in prisons. Most jails have few recreational facilities or programs, have very limited medical facilities, and offer few items in the commissary. In many jails, people are only let out of their cells a couple of times a week to go shower. Visiting facilities are typically through glass or via video technology, for which visitors must pay. For those who cannot pay bail, remaining in jail has serious consequences. They may lose a job or be evicted from their residence. Moreover, people in jail have parenting or other caregiving responsibilities that must be done by someone else while they are incarcerated. Or, alternatively, children are simply left to suffer alone. If they require constant medical care, the jail is not likely to provide that. Plus, remaining in jail during pretrial makes a person more likely to be convicted. A 2016 paper analyzing more than 420,000 cases determined that those who gained pretrial release were 15.6 percentage points less likely to be found guilty. Not surprisingly, prosecutors commonly condition plea offers on postponing hearings in which defendants may challenge their arrest and request release. On the next page, got an artist illustration here. Khalif Browder was 17 when he was accused of stealing a backpack in a New York store. He refused to accept the plea bargain, but his family could not afford the $3,000 bail. He remained in solitary confinement in Rikers Island for 17 months. He continued to refuse a plea bargain, insisting on his innocence. Finally, he was released and the charges were dropped. However, the jail experience traumatized him severely. On June 6, 2015, he hanged himself. His death sparked massive protests in New York and other cities. Khalif's mother died a little over a year later from a heart attack. But lawyer Paul Prestia, who had been involved in Khalif's case, said she died of a broken heart. On May 25, 2017, the corner of East 181st Street and Prospect Avenue in the Bronx was renamed Khalif Browder Way. And that was drawn by Robert A. Odom, incarcerated in North Carolina. Damn, man, that's pretty sad. I got pretty I almost started crying right there. Jesus Christ. Next page. At least one in seven, 1 out of 7 of people in prison are serving life sentences. Over 200,000 people are currently serving life sentences in state and federal prisons. So it's a little illustration there. Life in prison, page 59. In the 1960s and 1970s, prisons had programs of rehabilitation. Higher education courses were common, and job training also was often available. As criminologist Betsy Matthews put it in the 1980s, rehabilitation formed the basis of correctional practice, close quote. But mass incarceration involved shifting the underlying philosophy. Prisons increasingly were oriented toward punishment, the so-called punishment paradigm. A common term that justice advocates applied was warehousing. Prisons became places where bodies were stored, waiting to be pulled off the shelf and sent back to the community. On the ground in prisons, this meant that guards, though they had advocated for changing their job title to correctional officers, largely became disciplinarians rather than advocates and facilitators of rehabilitation. Their job became control and punishment. Rehabilitation had vanished from the ethos. On the next page, this is the California Institution for Men. In 2006, California Institution for Men was 97.5% over capacity. That's what it looks like there. I'll zoom up on the pages there. On bunk beds, man, crowded. Disgusting, man. Here's another illustration here. I'm going to take a look at that. Kind of a bad photo. The average prison cell is 6 feet by 9 feet. Prison and jails vary in terms of their physical layout. In the past, cells in many prisons were designed for one person. But in the era of mass incarceration, most cells accommodate 2 people. The most common structure is a box, as shown in the diagram, with a stainless steel toilet and sink and 2 bunk beds, which are usually slabs of steel with a very thin mattress on top. Some cells are so small that a person standing in the middle can touch both sides at the same time. The doors vary. Older prisons have bars across the front, but more modern cells have a solid front wall with a heavy metal door that is opened remotely by guard. Some have slots in the door through which guards can slide food trays or reach in to put a person in handcuffs before letting them out of the cell. But many prisons, especially lower security facilities, house people in dorms which have multiple beds spread out across an open floor. As prisons become more crowded, authorities began using any available space as a dorm. These included gyms, libraries, chapels, and warehouses. In some cases, people are put in tightly packed spaces and put in triple bunks. This is by Greg Curry, who's incarcerated in Ohio. He's the one that drew that. So if you want to see it again there. Most prisons were built in the 1980s and 1990s. By now they are old, often deteriorating. Moreover, in the years since they were built, the climate crisis has had an impact on the ecosystems where many of these prisons are located. For example, with the overall rise in temperatures, some people are boiling behind bars, locked in cells without air conditioning where the temperature may reach 130 degrees. The proliferation of storms and rising waters threatens many prisons that lie near coastlines or other bodies of water. In 2021, repeated storms in Florida meant that water flooded the prison blocks at the Cross City Correctional Institution in Dixie County, Florida. It became so severe they had to evacuate the prison. Deron Jones, who was incarcerated there, described the situation, quote, "The water was close to ankle deep, with human waste floating by as we were fed in our cells. The smell was unlike anything I have ever encountered," close quote. By the time they moved out of the prison, he reported that the water was, quote, "the water was knee deep with snakes and bugs swimming in the water," close quote. And a day in a minimum security prison. There's a little Let's read this part on the edge there. 6 a.m. you wake up. 7 a.m. breakfast and travel to work site. From 8 a.m. to 11 you work. 11 a.m. is lunch. From 12 p.m. to 3 you work. 3 to 4 you travel to prison. 4 o'clock off duty, time on the prison yard. 5 o'clock is dinner. 6 o'clock religious or specialized programming. 8 o'clock return to dorm and remain in housing area. 11 p.m. lights out. All right, let's read a couple more pages, guys, and then I'm going to play some video games. Life sentences. More than 2/3 of those serving life sentences are people of color. 1 in 5 black men in prison is serving a life sentence. Today, over 200,000 people are serving life sentences in U.S. prisons, more than the entire incarcerated population in 1970. About 30% of those serving life sentences are older than 55. Many of these individuals have a life without parole sentence, a penalty that does not exist in any other country. Also in 2016, more than 44,000 people were serving virtual life sentences, a sentence that they could not complete before death. Virtual life typically includes sentences of 50 years or more. It is often called death by incarceration. In recent years, advocates and incarcerated people have stepped up their efforts to overturn or modify life sentences to get people out of prison, especially those who have served long terms. The Illinois Prison Project has been active in fighting for commutations for people with long sentences. As of 2022, their work had secured the release of 70 people from Illinois prisons, including Ronaldo Hudson, who was given a death sentence that was commuted to life in prison in 2009. He secured a commutation of a sentence in 2020 after serving 37 years in prison. Hudson committed a murder at age 19 while he was high on drugs. He was initially sentenced to death, but that sentence was later reduced to life without parole. Hudson would end up spending 37 years in Illinois prisons, during which time he taught himself to read and then went on to complete a bachelor's degree. In 2020, Governor J.B. Pritzker granted him executive clemency. Hudson was released from prison, and he immediately began to do work with other people who had come home from prison. Mumia Abu-Jamal, originally sentenced to death for a conviction for the murder of a police officer in 1981, successfully fought to get his Pennsylvania sentence reduced to life in prison without parole. But Mumia maintained his innocence and built an enormous following across the U.S. and Europe in support of his efforts to be free. Saint Denis, a suburb of Paris, France, named a street after Mumia in 2006. Over the years, Mumia wrote several books and was a frequent commentator on radio broadcasts, pushing back against his conviction in the use of life imprisonment. Quote from Ronaldo Hudson: "After 37 years in prison, I was not the broken teenager that was sentenced to die at the hands of the state. My transformation may look dramatic, but it is in no way unique. Just as I was, there are now thousands of people sitting in cells throughout Illinois who have spent years growing, learning, and changing. Just as I was, they are ready to return home. Without parole or mid-sentence review, there is no recognition within the criminal legal system that people change or grow. There has to be room for mercy and justice to sit together." Close quote. This is an illustration by Kenneth Reams, who is incarcerated in Arkansas. So there you go. Read that. Okay, let's end there, guys. The next topic is solitary confinement. It's going to get pretty dark, so I think, man, it got pretty sad there. I think we read about, I mean, a lot of these pages have illustrations, but I went from page 43 to about 69-ish, 66, so let's put my marker back in this thing with my pen here. What the hell is this? Bam. So that's part 3 of The Warehouse, a visual primer on mass incarceration. Just want to say, guys, this is why I do not vote in a two-party system. The Democrats, Biden, Clinton wrote the most racist crime bill, the 1994. They wrote the most racist bill, the 1994 crime bill. So don't think for a second that the Democrats are a better option than Republicans. You know, it's so easy to call Republicans racist, how they hate people of color. Well, the Democrats point their fingers and they say, yeah, dude, look how bad Republicans are. And they smile at you, the voter. You're like, we got your back, dude. But quietly, just signing those bills, man. Sometimes signing those bills right in your face, but you guys are just so, you got Trump derangement syndrome or whatever. You don't really see what's going on. On my channel, guys, I'm trying to convince people the two-party duopoly is a complete sham. Voting will not do shit, okay? And it took me until my 30s to figure out that Democrats were not the better option. The two parties, the duopoly is a complete fucking sham, okay? So I know it hurts. You know you don't want to let it go. You know you're scared of what the Republicans are going to do. Sorry, man. America is one corporate party for the ultra wealthy, the 1%, the Fortune 500. They both serve it. Capitalism, they keep people down, the working class down, but they keep people of color, black people down the most. And yeah, the disabled, etc. So, all right, well, I'm going to pause it for today's stream. I'm going to go brew some hot tea and give me like 5 minutes, maybe 10, and then I'm going to boot up Neo for PS4. So I'm going to end the stream and come right back. So, but thank you for watching. Talked about all the 9 games I've beaten this year. We're a quarter of the way of 2026. I beat 9 games. Talked about that, and then we did a book reading. So that's my kind of day, guys. That's how I want my channel to be. So let's play some video games.